You know that incredibly frustrating feeling when you ask an AI to do something super simple, like, say, book a calendar appointment or check your live database, and it just spits back that polite little apology about how it's just a language model and can't access the real world? Yeah, we've all been there. But here's the thing, that limitation is rapidly disappearing. So let's just jump straight into this explainer and demystify the exact mechanism that is turning these passive AI models into active, real-world operators. We are talking about AI function calling. To really understand this, we have to look at the massive, foundational limitations standard large language models have in their raw form. The source material actually describes them as brilliant parrots trapped inside a text box. And honestly, that hits the nail on the head. They're trained on mountains of text, and they are astonishingly good at predicting the next word. They read, they process, they generate highly intelligent-sounding replies. But fundamentally, they can't actually do anything outside of that box. They literally don't have hands to interact with the digital world. And this split perfectly illustrates the divide we're dealing with here. On one side, you've got reading, processing, generating, all entirely theoretical. On the other side, you have real action, checking the live weather, sending an email, querying your company's database, or booking a flight. In its raw form, an AI is completely blocked from that right side. It can write you a breathtaking Shakespearean sonnet about the rain, for sure. But without function calling, it can't tell you if you actually need to grab an umbrella on your way out the door today. Which brings us to Section 1, the paradigm shift. Let's see how breaking AI out of this box is totally upending how we build software. So the crucial takeaway here is that function calling essentially acts as the AI's hands. It's this massive breakthrough mechanism that takes a passive chatbot and turns it into an active orchestrator. When an AI supports function calling, it suddenly has the self-awareness to recognize, hey, this prompt requires an action I can't do myself. It then steps back, formulates a highly structured request to an external tool or API, waits for you to pass back the real-world data, and then seamlessly weaves that data right into its final response to you. To really appreciate how huge this is, just think about how we used to have to build these things. Imagine asking an AI to reschedule a meeting from 3 p.m. to 4 p.m., but only if the room is free, and if it's not, find the next open slot. Before function calling, oh man, developers had to hand code all of that logic. You needed complex intent classification, entity extraction, rigid conditional logic just to figure out what the user wanted. But now, the model itself actually reasons through the dependencies declaratively. You basically just hand it a toolbox, and it decides exactly which tools to use and in what order to solve the problem. But wait, how does the AI actually know what tools are in the toolbox? Well, to make this work, we teach the AI about its capabilities using a JSON schema. This is just a standardized format that clearly outlines the name of the function, a description of what it does, and the precise inputs and data types it needs to run. And a quick aside here, that description is absolutely vital. If you give a function a vague description, the AI is going to get confused and won't know when to use it. Think of this JSON schema as the instruction manual you hand to the AI before the conversation even starts. Okay, moving to Section 2, the dance. Let's peek under the hood and walk through this technical sequence. The source material calls this the dance, and it happens incredibly fast, literally in a fraction of a second. Let's say you ask for the weather in Tokyo. Step 1, the model analyzes your query and realizes, okay, I need the get weather tool for this. Step 2, instead of just saying, I don't know, it outputs structured JSON instructions asking for Tokyo's weather. Step 3, your application catches that JSON, hits the OpenWeatherMap API, and grabs the raw data. And finally, Step 4, your app hands that data back to the model, which then translates it into a friendly, natural sentence for the user. It is a brilliant, seamless loop. Now, I have to clear up a major misconception right here. It is absolutely crucial to remember that the AI never actually executes the code itself. It doesn't magically reach out to the internet on its own. Your application, your own code, is what handles the actual execution and external integration. The model is simply acting as an intelligent router and interpreter. It's the brains of the operation, telling your application what needs to happen, and then making sense of whatever results your application brings back. All right, Section 3, real-world power. Now that we know how this dance works, what can we actually build with it? This is where it gets fun, because function calling unlocks a massive array of software patterns. You've got Retrieval Augmented Generation, or RAG, where the AI searches a vector database to actually ground its answers in your documents. You can do natural language database queries, safely turning plain English into SQL. Then there's Universal API integration, hooking the AI directly into Slack, your CRM, or Stripe. It can even request sandboxed code execution, where it literally writes Python to analyze data, and your system runs it. Essentially, it makes the AI a universal interface for your entire software stack. The biggest thing you should take away from this is how it handles complex, multi-step workflows. It is a total game changer. Imagine a workflow where you need to research a topic, summarize it, draft an email, send it for approval, and then schedule a follow-up. Because the model natively handles ambiguity and context, it dynamically orchestrates that whole sequence. You aren't coding a rigid, brittle path anymore. You just provide the tools, and the AI navigates the steps based entirely on the user's intent.
Let's look at Section 4, guardrails, because handing the keys over to an AI definitely introduces some serious engineering and security challenges.
It's not all magic, right? You have to build defensively. First off, models can and will hallucinate function calls. They might just invent arguments out of thin air. So your application literally has to validate everything. Second, in complex systems, AI can get stuck in infinite loops, just calling the same tool over and over. But the big one, security. Imagine giving an AI a delete user function. A malicious prompt could easily trick the model into calling it. So you must build robust authorization checks on your end. The AI suggests, your code authorizes. Oh, and don't forget latency. All those round trips between the AI and your APIs can slow things down if you aren't careful. Finally, Section 5, the agentic future. Let's tie this all together and see how it fuels the next big leap in tech. You are probably hearing the buzzword AI agents everywhere right now, these autonomous systems that pursue goals over multiple steps. Well, function calling is exactly what makes them possible. It is the primitive building block of the entire AI agent revolution. When you take function calling and you combine it with reasoning, planning, and memory, you completely transform a conversational language model into an autonomous worker. This is the exact underlying mechanism that powers advanced frameworks like LangChain or AutoGen. Function calling is the foundation giving all these agents their hands. So as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with this one thought. We started out talking about brilliant parrots trapped inside a text box. Well, with function calling, we've broken the box. We've handed the AI the tools to act in our real world, to query, write, send, and execute. So if function calling gives AI the hands to interact with the world, what happens when it finally learns to autonomously plan its own day? It's a fascinating, maybe slightly intimidating frontier, but by understanding function calling, you now know exactly how it's being built. Thanks for hanging out with us, and we'll catch you in the next explainer.